This woman poured 2 big boiling of hot water mixed with sugar on her husband while he slept. But once you hear her reason for doing this, you might just understand why. So this woman's name is Corinna Smith, and she was 59 years old, living in Neston, Cheshire. To her neighbors, she was just a regular woman, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. She had a husband. His name is Michael Baines, and he's currently 81 as at the time of this crime. They had been married for 38 good years, and this had been a long time. They've understood themselves. The marriage has been filled with love, and they had children. She met Michael when she was 21, and Michael at that time was 41 years old. And this age gap would really come into play in our story. Now, before she met Michael, she had 2 children, a boy and a girl from a previous partner. During the course of the marriage with Michael, she also had a son whose name was Craig. At some point, Craig, now an adult, was arrested for brutally assaulting somebody, and then he was sent to prison. In 2012, he was released, and at that time he was 25 years old. And when he was released, the whole family was happy because finally the son that had been away is finally back home. Craig himself seemed very happy at that time, but Craig would finally do something unusual that would make the mom think where something had gone wrong. That same day, while he was released, he kept on telling his mom that he touched me. He's a bad person. He's a pea person. He's not a good man. He's been making advances towards me. And then the mom, feeling that he was talking about the man that he assaulted and went to prison for, just brushed it off and didn't really think that it was serious. But this singular act of brushing it up will come to haunt her in the course of the story. Days later, after he was released from prison, Craig sadly took his own life, and this left Corinna in a lot of shambles because she kept on asking herself that what went wrong. This guy seemed so happy after he was released. I felt that we could all get our lives back and move on, and he could go on to become a better person. She had a lot of plans laid out for him. She had what she wanted to push him to go into. There was just a lot, and she kept on wondering what would have happened that would make this happy boy, this person that seemed so happy, just go ahead to just take his life. And mind you, Craig is the child that was gotten from her marriage with Michael. Now, all these questions that she had inside her would go ahead to be answered later in 2020. Now, one time in 2020, she decided to go visit her daughter. Now, because of people involved in this story, we're going to name her daughter Emmy. She had gone to go visit her daughter, and then they've been catching up because they've not seen for a very long time. So they were doing a lot of catching up, and Corinna felt that this feels so good. I'm really enjoying my time in here. Why don't I stay a little longer? So she decided to call her husband Michael, and then she told her husband that, hello, I'm in Emmy's place, but I'm going to stay a while longer. I'm going to stay the night. I want to just catch up with her. And Michael was not having it. He was like, why would you be staying in that place? Don't you have your own place? Don't you have a husband to take care of? Typical narcissist behavior. And then Corinna was on the phone apologizing and telling Michael that don't worry, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to come back home. Don't worry, I won't be staying over again. And Emmy was just there looking at her. Emmy could see that her mom was being scolded. And then it brought back memories of what she herself had been through in the hands of her stepfather. So for minutes, Corinna was on the call trying to calm Michael down, trying to let him know that she wasn't going to sleep over anymore. She was going to come back home. And Michael, being the typical narcissist that he was, kept on shouting at her, kept on calling her names, and kept on saying words that would make her feel less of herself. And this supposedly has been what she has been enduring in her whole 38 years of being married to this man. So when Emmy saw what was happening, she wasn't having it anymore because this was bringing a whole lot of bad memories to her. And this was part of the reason why she really never liked this man called Michael, this man who supposedly is supposed to be her stepfather. After the call had ended, she looked at her mom and told her mom, you can't continue like this. You can't continue being with this kind of man. And then the mom went on to start to cover him up and tell him, don't worry, that's just how he is and all that. But Emmy wasn't having it. Emmy got so mad. She got so angry at how this man was treating her mother. Then she told her mom, you better ask him what he's been doing to us, or I'm going to tell you. And then the mom was like, what has he been doing to you now? What's up? Because for a very long time, there's been this tension between her children and the father. And this had been happening for a very long time. And during the course of the years, these children has been trying to hint their mom, to tell their mom that this is what has been happening. this is what is going on, this is what this man has been doing, but she has not really gotten the whole idea of it. Most times they try to tell her what's happening and then they just withdraw. But that day, Corinna was not having it. She said, you must tell me what is going on. You must tell me what's going on between my husband and you. Why are people not living in unity? Why is there tension? Why do you hate him so much? And she kept on nudging her daughter for until Emmy finally spilled the bean. And then she told him that he's been touching me for years. He's been doing this, and he didn't just do it. He didn't just start now. He's been doing this to me while we were still younger, and I wasn't the only one that was the victim of what he's been doing to us. He also did it to Craig, and I think that's part of the reason why Craig took his life. And immediately Corinna heard this, the light just went off her head. She began to remember that particular day when Craig kept on telling her that he did this to me, he did that to me, when she thought that it was the man that she assaulted. She didn't know that the person that he was speaking with was her husband. And it was that day that she realized that this time that my son was trying to tell me this, he was just trying to tell me what this evil man has been doing to him. And when her daughter confessed and told her everything, she was crying. She kept on wondering what had gone wrong, how she had not seen the signs, and how these things could go on in her nose. She kept on blaming herself on how she was not able to protect her children. And then after some point, she stood up and said she was going to go to the police. And then Emmy, her daughter, told her that, no, don't go to the police. The police would not believe us. Besides, it didn't just happen now. It happened a very long time. This was what happened when we were kids and while we were growing up. Don't go to the police. Instead, the doctor suggested that they take a lie test. They use a lie detector. In that way, they'll be able to know who is lying and who is telling the truth between Michael and the children. And after that, they agreed on that and agreed that that was what they were going to do the next day. Around 9:30, Corinna went back to her house. And when she went back to the house and she stepped into the house, the mere sight of seeing Michael, the mere sight of seeing her husband, irritated her so much that she almost threw up. She just kept quiet as if nothing was happening. And in that pain and in that anger, she called her other son and told her other son what had happened. When she told the son was like, no, this did not happen. He kept on saying no and did not really believe her. And then in that pain and anger and tears, she called back Emmy and told Emmy that, I told your brother did not believe what happened. Emmy was like, I told you not to tell anyone. Why did you tell him? You shouldn't have told him. You would spoil the plans of getting this person red-handed, because once this my brother goes to confront my father, he might try to clear off every evidence that might be there and better prepare himself. So why would you do this? Please don't do that again. And they all agreed that the next day they would go to the police and take a lie detector test. So barely 1 hour later, this woman does the unthinkable. She stopped crying. She felt that going to the police and going through all those process was going to be stressful. And then when she felt that Michael was fast asleep, she went into her kitchen and then she brought out a very big pot, filled it with water, and then she went to get the 3 bags of sugar that she had in her store. And then when this water was so hot, she poured this sugar into the water. And then she kept on stirring and stirring and stirring until she felt that this sugar had mixed properly with the water. And this formed a very thick, sticky liquid. Now, when she felt that this had boiled very well, she took this pot and then she tiptoed slowly into Michael's room. When she got into Michael's room, she looked at the person who is supposed to be the father to her children, doing this not just to his stepchildren, but to his own child. And then she looked at him with so much hate in his heart, and she felt that he just had to pay. In that range and in that moment, she poured the liquid all over him. She poured it on his hand, she poured it on his torso, making sure to stay out of the way so none of it touches her. Michael, who was so fast asleep, woke up with this burning pain all over his body. He woke up screaming, trying to get the whole liquid out of his body. But because Corinna had mixed this with sugar, it was so sticky and was so hard to pull off. So this kept on burning into his skin. While he was screaming and trying to pull this off, Corinna just stood there and then she went on to take the remaining liquid that was still remaining in the pot and poured it on him until she was sure that she had emptied the whole content in the pot on his body. And then she just stood there and watched him scream in pains. And mind you, Michael was 81 years old. He was already an old man. There was little or nothing that he could do. Now, after all this had been done, she didn't call 911. She didn't try to wash the substance off his skin. She ensured that she stayed in his room just to hear him scream. And after that, she just left, leaving Michael alone in that room, screaming with his skin literally melting away. And then she walked over to her neighbor's house and she kept on knocking and knocking and knocking. And this was in the middle of the night, so these people were fast asleep. And then when they finally opened the door, she just looked at the woman who was supposed to be her neighbor and told her, "There's been an accident. I've hurt him. I even think that I've unalived him. But I really needed to do that. He hurt my children. He hurt me so badly by going after my children." And this neighbor called 911. When the police finally arrived, they found a scene that haunted them. Michael was still alive, but he was in a level of pain that a lot of us cannot even fathom. He was rushed into a specialized burn unit with 36% of his body covered in those deep syrupy burns. For 5 weeks, Michael Baines, this 81-year-old man, fought for his life. But at that age, his body cannot fight for so long. He went through surgeries, skin grafts, and constant pain until his body finally gave up on August 18, 2020. Corinna was arrested and she stood in court. The whole world heard the motive and the reason behind her actions. Everyone really accepted that she did what she did because she was livid because of what the husband had done to her children. But the court said that by choosing to be Michael's judge, jury, and executioner, Corinna took away the only thing her daughter actually wanted, which was the truth, and Michael coming out clean with it. Because truly, these are just allegations and would remain so until proven otherwise by the court of law. Corinna Smith was sentenced to life in prison with 12 years minimum before she could even think of a parole. She went from a grandmother in a 38-year-old marriage to a convicted mother, all because of one man. And this makes me want to ask the question, do you think what she did is justifiable? And did you think that the sentence given to her was right in that state? Let me know in the comment section.